Welcome back to Vlogmas Day 5. Mr. Fire just wanted to boop the camera to welcome everyone in. I cooked up the homemade sausage that Alec prepared and just frying it off. Today is the day. I am making sourdough. I found this recipe online and I thought I would give it a shot. It had a bunch of ratings and the average was roughly 5 stars. So I figured this was probably the best recipe to go with. So I did not record the auto leasing process, which is basically adding the water to the flours and letting the flour absorb that water for about 30 minutes before I added the starter. The sourdough starter to the hydrated auto leased flour. Take my fingers and I dimple the sourdough starter into the flour to kind of help it incorporate a little better. I start to stretch and fold and incorporate the sourdough starter into the bread, and then I realize that I forgot to add the salt. So once I've added the salt, I'll continue to fold the dough and knead it a little bit together. Now, I'm not too worried about it being perfect at that stage. I will be stretch and folding the dough quite a few times, so it will have that opportunity to be mixed thoroughly by the last stretch and fold. I've sped this clip up and I have trimmed a little bit of the stretch and folding here, just because it took about 5 minutes to get it to a nice consistency. As I said, it's not going to be perfect the first stretch and fold, but by the end of it, it will come to a nice ball. At this point here, I'm watching this play back and it looks like I'm a cat kneading something, which is hilarious to me. But it's been a while since I've been in a bakery. I used to bake for about 10 years, and sourdough has never been on the I've done this list. I let it rest before I do my first stretch and fold, and the dough looks significantly better. It looks like it's combined and ready to work with. With all the research on sourdough that I've done, it basically states that you should stretch and fold it until you can no longer stretch it without breaking it. After this, I put the lid back on it and let it rest for another 30 minutes before I do my second stretch and fold. I moisten my hands, that way I can fold it without having the dough stick to my fingers. You can see I almost messed that up and grabbed the whole dough with dry fingers and it would have just stuck to me like glue. As you can see from the first stretch and fold and even before that, this dough is looking a lot smoother. It looks beautiful. I've been working in the office and walking to the kitchen doing the stretch and folds for the sourdough, and Fire had a silent temper tantrum this morning. He flipped the bed, tore it open, and tore some stuffing out of it. The bed's salvageable, but still, this is unlike him. When he wants to go for a walk, he'll let you know by barking, and he will bring shoes to you or bring shoes to the bedroom. I think it's also a little bit of jealousy and the fact that he wants attention. I wasn't paying that much attention to them this morning. I was busy doing the dough and working in the office, so I feel that he was acting out a little bit. I don't record all of the stretch and folds on this video for this recipe. I just wanted to take you through the adventure of making a sourdough loaf. You can see the bubbles from the natural yeast working. It's so cool. I find this fascinating that you can just make a loaf of bread essentially from flour with no manufactured instant yeast. Let it rest for 30 more minutes. After it's rested, I flour the counter. Then I turn the dough out onto the counter for its final shaping before I put it into the Benetton baskets. After its last shaping, I put it into the Benetton baskets, and then I put it in a plastic bag, put it in the refrigerator, and have a long ferment for about 12 hours. So tomorrow we will have my first sourdough loaf. Fingers crossed it will turn out amazing. So come on back tomorrow. I will be taking this out of the fridge, scoring it, and baking it off. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the morning.